Welcome to the Seraphine Podcast. I am Seraphine Arocha, and today we have Miss RC Hahn. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh my God, I am super stoked to have you. We used to work together at One Life, and it was hilarious. You and I were like two passing ships in the night, but we always had this kind of like I see you energy. So I wanted to follow up with you because we have a mutual friend, Kristen Jukes, who I hope you are.
Shout out to Jukes. You better
She's
be watching.
amazing. She's amazing. She actually, when she saw that I started to do this podcast, she literally reached out and she goes, the person you need on that podcast now is RC because she is making moves. So I reached out to you and I was like, oh my God. So I want to start out by saying, hello, friend. How are you?
I'm
Hi.
so glad I feel like we were just in opposite group studios
at
the same time, but everyone who took my classes really enjoyed your classes,
Yep.
and we would send each other to the opposite class.
Totally. There's a lot of mutual love there, a lot of mutual love. And then we both left and, you know, we both kind of did our own thing for a while, but I always kept tabs on you. Yeah. And then when we just sat down this last week at True Food Kitchen, so I literally was like, I don't know, you're one of those people that I can always rely on to lift me up. You know, you've got that positive energy. And you're also somebody who is fearless in sharing your vulnerability. So with that being said, I'd like people to get to know you and what you're doing right now. First and foremost, we're going to talk about your foundation. Yes. So I'm going to throw it over to you.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I'm glad that I bring positivity and lift you up. I wouldn't want the opposite. So
Totally.
Yeah. So currently, I think my main passion, like you mentioned, is that foundation. I jumped ship and kind of quit corporate America and everything else I had going to pursue my nonprofit visions. As you know, when we were working together, I did work in community relations and was working with a lot of other, philanthropies in the area. But I always had my own little baby in my heart that I wanted to do. So the Adjusting Fate Foundation was founded this year as a 501c3.
Congratulations!
That's
awesome.
The typical 2020 story. It's like just do it. Everything and anything that you wanted to, really go for it and put yourself out there. So what we do, we help bring health and fitness resources to women who are going through sexual and domestic abuse. So just providing them with the education and the outlets and the information and just everything and anything you could think of that you would need to be well, specifically in the the physical dimension when you look at wellness. So it's been beautiful to see, all of these different people that I've worked with, in the industry for like almost the last decade now, all those pieces coming together for something, bigger.
You've always been
You've
always been a female advocate. I mean, Jukes also. I mean, what I love about the two of you is that, I can't tell you how many times I've seen or felt from people who have crossed your path where the words that come out of their mouths is like, she's a girl's girl, she has women's back. And not that you don't have men's back either.
Of course, yeah.
But
a lover of people.
Yes, you are a lover of people. But I wanted to know where your passion started with starting this foundation. Where did it come from? And were you involved previously with other groups that helped with women in these circumstances?
I love that question. It was actually what was on my heart and got me started in the industry in general. So I wanted to start this foundation and I wanted to help women. It's my own personal story as well, that, health and fitness in the gym, literally saved my life. We know that, women who endure these things are more likely to go through depressions, anxiety, become addicted to, drugs and alcohol. So the gym was my outlet and that was my safe place. And it changed the trajectory of my life. So I wanted to do that for other people. I knew that. So I was like 18 and I was like, okay, well, I want to start this foundation, but I don't have any credibility. I don't have any backing. I just am this person who likes to work out, So I was like, well, first step, I need to become a personal trainer. And then I need to become a really great personal trainer so people believe me. So I did that. So I became a personal trainer, did that. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do events. So I became, an expert in event planning, in organization, and in fundraising. And then I hit a wall. I realized I had done all of these things, I think it's so common that we as just humans think that we're not capable enough, or I don't have the skill sets, or, no one's going to, why would anyone listen to me, or this isn't going to work. I don't know enough. I'm not ready. Yeah. And, 10 years went by, and I'm like, I have no excuse. I've I'm a top trainer. I have the certifications. I have the accolades. I've done the events. I've done the fundraising. Now it's time for my own, you know? So yeah, it was just a personal story, and now it's coming to fruition.
So I'm so curious. We were talking at True Food, and you know, I'm pretty transparent about when I seek friendships, it's usually from people I learn from, that can teach me something about myself, or people who I aspire to be, or know that there's a kind of empathy or love that I can like fill my tank with. So I want to know who, let's just call it imposter syndrome. Who were some of the people in your life that helped fill your tank and get you out of that imposter syndrome rut?
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I hope that what people take away from what you decided is it is important of who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
That they either fill you up or they take away, you know, and that's just how energy, you know, works. And you really want to surround yourself with people that do inspire you and motivate you and encourage you and keep it real with you.
Yeah.
You know, definitely know I have a handful of friends and people that would, and I like people that in so many words, you know, like check me.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, I'll test my people.
Yeah.
So if you know there's something on my heart and something I want to do or doesn't align with where I'm trying to go or what I believe in, like that's the audience that I keep very close in my network. They say, you know, what are you doing? Or, oh, you're getting another job. When are you going to do your nonprofit? When are you going to make time for that? Oh, great. You raised $10,000 for another foundation. When are you going to do it for your own? When are you going to follow your own heart? You know?
Yeah.
Or you're being rude, or that doesn't align, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not taking care of yourself, or and that's, you know, that tough love, that's real love, I think. And then, you know, just been really, really fortunate to have some amazing mentors in my life that, you know, just taught me things. I think even life lessons more so than the actual tangibles of the business development that they were mentoring me in, that saw the light in me and they encourage that light and they vocalize that, because sometimes we feel we have something inside of us and our purpose and our passion, but when other people vocalize that to you and they remind you that you are X, Y, and Z, and it makes it more real, because like, oh, I feel seen, and I feel like this is possible, because maybe I'm not crazy, maybe I don't, you know, because we always think our ideas are great ideas, or that we're, you know, able to do something, and then having people just continuously see that in you as well and encourage that. And so I think it was just a dog pile of all of those things ultimately.
Well, you know, the other thing that I find fascinating about you too is because, you know, you've lived on the coast before, and
shout out LA.
I know, right? I love it. I love the sun, just that vitamin D, chill
vibes.
It does. It's I don't know. Like I feel like resilient after I go there, and then it's funny because that's a word that I think is near and dear to your heart, but also one that I associate with you is like, you're the type of person that if I were going to go to war, I'd want you on my side, because like, I just feel like
we'd win.
We would get right.
Us. Oh no.
So talk to me about the movement of resilience and what, how you apply it in your life.
Resiliency, when I heard that word, was one of those transformational words that you never forget. I was like, that's the word I've been looking for my whole life. That pinpoints so many different, you know, dimensions. And I love resiliency because it just correlates with all my passions in life. So obviously we're both very passionate about health and fitness. Yeah. And in fitness, you have to be resilient. And if you want to be strong, you have to have pain. So that's just scientifically how the body works, right? When you're building muscle, you're destroying it. Yeah. You are hurting it. And only once a muscle is ripped and broken with proper recovery does it build back stronger. So the keys in that is that first it must be broken, and then you must heal from it, and then therefore you will be stronger. And that correlates exactly into your mental and your emotional health as well in your life. So when you go through some type of trauma in life, or you feel pain, or you feel hurt, or something has broken you in some way, I'm like, hell yeah, thanks world. Like, cool. This gave me an opportunity to be stronger, to be better in some way. And it's just natural for us when we feel pain, when we feel hurt, when something bad happens to us, we tend to go into that negative mindset and view on it, when it's really the opposite. It's just you're where your head is at when you approach that difficult situation in your life. Do you let it break you, or do you realize that there's different types of broken?
Yeah.
And you take that and you heal from it. And when you heal, you will be resilient. And then you can just walk around the world unbreakable.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing anyone could say or anything could do or the world could throw at me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got this because I know I can heal. And those are techniques you need to, whether that's professional help or just self-development, being self-aware, understanding I feel something bad. I have been hurt. First being aware of it.
Yeah.
And then learning how you cope and how you heal. And then once you've figured out those two things of being self-aware and how to fix it, really can do anything you want. Like it's just like science, mentally and emotionally as well.
I love and appreciate what you're saying because, I think one of the hardest parts about being in health and fitness is that it's so much that it's not just the health of the body, it's the health of the mind, it's the health of the spirit. And a lot of people who come in are seeking a way that physically they can feel better about themselves in a way that will somehow brainwash their heart and mind to kind of like take after it. But there are days that, I remember when I would do personal training or I would be in a class and I could see certain people and it just didn't translate. And I'd have people give me feedback of, well, you look the way you do, I'm never going to look like you. Right. And then, the other thing is the body positive movement of like, why are you trying so hard to be something, when you just accept who you are? And, I've been really learning so much now as I'm getting older to open my mind and my vocabulary and my heart in the way that I teach my classes and in the way that I connect with people because I want to be true to myself, which is health and fitness. I like to have a healthy body. And then, but I also know that sometimes it takes so much more than just like go get them, So talk to me about your coaching style, how it's evolved and changed. And when people come into a training session or a class with you, what can they expect?
Absolutely. I love that you said that. It is, strong minds create strong bodies, and it's not the reverse of that. Exercise is a completely mental challenge, and the body is just the vessel that you're in when you're challenging yourself and you're pushing yourself to, can I do this? Will I overcome this? This is a challenge. I'm going to embrace that challenge. I'm going to do something that I thought I couldn't do. And I always tell people that all the time, your mind controls your muscles. Don't let your body win. So you'll hear me hollering that out in a group class or something, like your body is trying to trick you. Don't let your body trick you. You have control. Your legs don't control your brain. Your brain controls your legs. And if you tell your legs, I can do more, where that means taking it to what was a jump, to a static move, to just doing some jumping jacks. I have 2 rules in my classes and my training. My 2 rules are you have fun, because exercise is a celebration. We're not here, like you said, that positive. It's, we can. We have that opportunity to move our bodies. We are blessed to be here. And it's a celebration, not a punishment. We don't work out because we did X, so now we must do Y. It's, I have a body that can move. We're built to move. We're manufactured to move. All good things happen when you move. We're built that way, right? We've got limbs and muscles. We're given those things to do that, hearts, lungs. And so rule number 1, you have fun. You feel the music. You move. You're here. You just have a great time. And then rule number 2 is you don't quit. You don't stop. You give 100%. And 100% looks different to every different person. So your 100% could mean a burpee backflip while holding 20 pounds, and someone else 100%. Shout, if anyone does that, please DM me, send me that video.
I love it.
Like I want. And don't ask me if I can do that, because I definitely can. So 100%, and that, whatever that is, whatever that means for you today, in this moment, in this time. And that person's doing the burpee backflip, and the other person, that might be doing jumping jacks. It just looks different, and it's not a competition. It's you versus you all the time, and making yourself proud. And then that mental behavior and those mental habits transfer over into your life.
Yeah.
So yeah, anytime anyone's around me, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I like to, I like some good music. That's
Totally.
my motivator.
And by the way, I want to know what's
time.
on your soundtrack right now.
Oh, just ratchet jams.
I love it. Like, give me like 3 off the top of your head right now that you're like,
yeah, there's a lot of Megan Thee Stallion in there.
Yes.
We got some Tori. We got, anything. I always, crack the joke. People are like, what are you listening to in your head? Like, I was working out yesterday, and this guy was like, what are you listening to? You must be listening to something really crazy in there to have that much energy. And I took my earphone and I was like, I just sold so many drugs in my head, man. And then, put my earphones back on. He's like, what? And I was like, oh my God. It's really crazy in here right now. Like, I'm just turned up.
I love it.
But and it is. For whatever works for other people, anyway, but I need some,
I'll be honest with you, that was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do as a teacher was when I would have to teach a yoga class after you. People were coming out like having high fives, and I'd be like, namaste. Talk about a party pooper, man. I swear.
It's balance. It's about balance.
It is about balance.
I will tell them that. You can't just come to the HIIT explosive classes in the building.
Totally.
You have to go to the yoga. You need to do the Pilates bar.
Totally.
Seraphine and I work together.
Yep.
This is a joint deal.
The thing that I loved about it too was, it did start to, you get in these ruts. I know with yoga, I got when I went into my a second 200 and then I did 300. All of a sudden, I was like, I have to get really serious, and it has to be in Sanskrit and da da. And I forgot the joy of why I started. And I think that we all go ebbs and flows of being we have to abide by the rules, or if it's done this way or that way. Right. And what I loved was, again, always being challenged by having some of your students come in mine and be like, all right, these people, they need to be lifted and elevated, and even changing some music, at the last minute, and be like, all right, because these are the things that again, they give us an hour usually or 45 minutes out of their life. And that's sometimes more than the closest people in their life get of that kind of attention. So, I appreciate that you take it just as seriously as I do.
Absolutely.
So, the other thing I have found is that when I'm on, it's really hard for me to turn it off. And me on is a little different than, and again, not off as in the lights are off of me. It's just,
I can relate 100%.
You crank it up this. Right. So, my husband will say to me, he's like, you're not on stage anymore, or you're not in the classroom. Can I have the real you?
Yeah. So that's so important.
It is. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because vulnerability is so interesting when you're in this. I think athletes feel it a lot. Rock stars,
anyone on any type of stage platform.
Yeah. Vulnerability is and then the other thing is there's what I call forced vulnerability, where you're like, oh, I've been there, and you really mean it. You're being empathetic, and then those moments where it's like, oh my God, here I am.
Right. Raw, uncandid.
How describe to me the last time that you really felt super vulnerable.
I think I loved what you touched on is the on.
Yeah.
I used to have a thing, and I'm not as much immersed in it as I was anymore, but for many seasons of my life, and I worked in sports as well, in PR and in brand ambassador work. At any time and day, and then on top of that, then was working in the fitness industry, teaching group classes, teaching one-on-one, going into, Staples Center, tens of thousands of people, just very high engagement. At any point in a day, I could have interacted with thousands of people, and that's, when do we recharge, right? And that's on. You are smiling, and you are here, and you are popping, and you are just right.
Yeah,
totally. We're on, all right?
Totally.
Left for 12 hours straight.
Totally.
And, and I realized that, when I would come home, I had, communicated with my partner that when I walk in the door, I needed what was my 15 space. Because if he opened the door and he said, hey, honey, how was your day? I was like, it was fine. Everything's fine. You're like, whoa, I'm so sorry. Doesn't sound like it was a good day. And I'm like, no, it was a good day. It was a great day. The most amazing things that have happened in my day. Yeah. It could have been the best day ever. But if I didn't have that moment, that 15 minutes when I walked in the door, to not be spoken to take off my clothes, to be with myself for a moment, just be still, to catch up a message on my phone, or to do nothing, or to just pet my dogs for 15 minutes. Like something where there wasn't that interaction, where I could come back down to a level that was not on. Yeah. That was just me.
I love that you're saying this, because literally last night that happened to me and Johnny.
Yeah. And it's just the communication and being aware of it. And I think the problem is sometimes people aren't aware of what they need to be aware of.
And we all, the thing is, we have this conversation all the time, and we actually get into fights at that time of day more often than not, because he's come off from a long day at work, and either I've had a podcast day or I'm wrapping something up, or even if I'm home and it's a relaxed afternoon, there's that sense of he's been killing it all day long, and I want to be like, hello, how are you? What can I do for you?
Hey, babe, what do you need? Do you want to do you want to hug? Do you want to talk? Do you want to not talk? What do you want?
Oh my God. And you're like this super like crazed version of yourself. And for him, he'll meet me with his version of that energy, which is super intense, because like he's in ERs and he's around doctors all the time. So, he's literally like, da, 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 and I'm like, oh. So we both are like, it's like not us.
Yeah, right. But to be aware of it, and if you guys have communicated that, then that's... What are you? But I need 10 minutes.
I want to know what do you think that is in especially male and female relationships, about that weird time of you've been living separate lives, you've been on, and then you come together. What do you think it is in our chemical brain makeup, emotional makeup? What do you think that is?
Wow, that's a fantastic question. I've never really thought of that. I mean, I know, I'm okay. I demand a lot of attention, and that's fine. I am who I am, and if anyone wants to be with me, they're going to get a lot of me.
Yeah. I just say with me.
So I think it just comes down to compatibility, probably, then as well. Compatibility and communication, because I could see where maybe not necessarily even gender-wise, just people in general operating differently, running at different frequencies. You and I are a very high frequency.
Totally.
In metaphorically and energy, period.
Totally.
When we're on and we're interacting and doing our professions in our life, we're passion people.
Yeah.
And if people don't feel the passion or they can't get it, it comes off as a lot.
Yeah.
So just finding equally passionate people that are on the same plane as you, and to be self-aware. So you can say, hey, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
I need 10 minutes. Or to say those apologies. Hey, but I know I just snapped at you. I'm sorry. That wasn't fair to you. Let's create a game plan moving forward so this doesn't happen again. Moving forward, when I come home, let's try not talking to me for the first 15 minutes. Yeah. So that I can give you the best version of myself.
And kind of feel out where each other is at. I apply the concept to my classes as well, where you're like, you feel the tone in the room. A lot of times you'll put like a really loud piece of music on and people are not ready. Or you put on a mellow piece and people are like falling asleep. And I guess that's where I'm kind of understanding now this sense of, like even when like our energies are a lot, they can be a lot when people meet us. So I think sometimes people have a preconceived notion of what a certain energy is, or if they don't immediately like go in like and engage, like they're like, whoa, she's a lot. Right. Then it's this kind of like, well, what's a word that's for a lot? Fake.
Absolutely. I get that all the time. You're not really that happy. Like, you can stop. I'm like, I am really this happy all the time.
No, it's so the word fake. I swear to God,
all the time.
I mean, it's so
like, you can stop now. You don't have to act like that around me. You can be yourself around me. I'm like, this is me.
Yeah, and then you start to second guess yourself. The worst is when I'm having a vulnerable moment, and then it turns into embarrassment, and there's a lot of shame that I'm still at 43 like dealing with. And what I like about when I sit down with someone that is kind of can be similarly judged in that way is, again, picking their brain of like, all right, so in your vulnerable moments, this year's been completely vulnerable. With COVID and all of the things we've watched on the TV and experienced, how have you been able to be in your vulnerability and not let it disintegrate you, or or affect another person. Because I think a lot of times our vulnerability can turn into sadness or frustration. And you're really good about, if you're having a bad day, like you don't put it on somebody. But I also am curious about like how you have a bad day. Because you don't show it. These two know. I mean, they know.
And roll the blooper clips
I know, right?
of last week.
Right. So
cry for 5 minutes. We'll roll again in a second.
So share, because I'm literally like, these are the nuggets that I think when people come to your classes.
That's a powerful question. I am vulnerable, and I do have bad days, and I do put it on other people. I think it's just selective of who I trust to take some of that weight for me. And I can have really, really good days, and I have more good days than bad, because I think the secret is I feel my feelings. And I feel them. And I know that's something we've spoken on a little bit, that there's just this weird stigma that's around that it's not okay to feel your feelings, and it's not okay to be sad, or it's not okay to be vulnerable, or, you know, you can't show that if you're mad. But it's just the opposite. I can feel genuinely happy. Like we talked about, it's not a fake happiness. It's not a fake optimism or, unicorns and rainbows. I really feel like that because I feel it, because I'm in tune with my emotions, because I equally feel my bad days and my sad moments, and I embrace those. And it's not a linear line. That's not how our emotions work.
No.
That's fake.
Yeah.
You know, if you went through 2020 and you weren't crying like every other day, I don't trust you. If you tell me that you weren't breaking down mentally, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually every like 5 minutes, let's be real here. Yeah. Do you not have emotions? You know, like it was a very heightened climate, and to feel that and to sit down, to be like, I need to cry for a second. I need to feel this. I need to feel the hurt. I need to feel the empathy. I need to understand, and to sit down and be with that feeling. I call it timeout. Where you go to timeout and you literally go and you sit and you tell yourself, I'm not going to come out of this corner. I'm not going to come out of this chair in this bedroom until I'm going to be nice to myself, which means I'm going to understand myself so that I can go out into the world. And that doesn't transcend into hundreds of people throughout my day and on my platforms and how I'm speaking and engaging with others. It's going to be me. I'll reach out to someone if I need, but I'll sit there. I'll say, am I really, okay, I saw this post. Did that make me sad? Am I sad? Does that make me insecure? Am I angry? If I am angry, what am I angry at? Because I thought I was sad, but I'm actually angry. If I'm angry, then I can troubleshoot that. Then I can, feel that feeling. So being very hyper in tune, and then it doesn't last as long. If you don't embrace the fact that you're sad and you need to cry in that moment, or you need to be angry in that moment, or you need to, talk to somebody, and you just, push it down and you don't let it show. So that's fake happiness, because you have bottled up inside of you all this sadness and this hurt and this pain and this frustration and all of these negative emotions that you're not showing. But energies don't lie. And they don't lie to yourself. So you walk around trying to be happy, but you got 1% happiness and 99% of the other feelings. Once you feel a feeling, you can let it go and you can release it. And it's only once you've felt it that you can release it and make room for other feelings to come in. So I would say that my strategy is that I do feel them. I do have bad days. I do have sad moments. And it's about having your power team and your tribe. I'm definitely a quality over quantity person with my vulnerability, and have taken time to build those networks and relationships, with my solid 5 on one hand, that are, if I need to cry, if I need to FaceTime them, if I need to have a vulnerable moment later in the week on our walk, like, hey, can we go on a walk? I need to talk. And usually they're relatable, and you can communicate through that, and they'll have a good little nugget to give you. I was having a FaceTime a couple of days ago with a girlfriend, and she had some wise words that I needed to hear, that I couldn't figure out why I was feeling the way that I was feeling about something, but her knowing me was able to say, it seems to me, knowing you and your previous behaviors, that you actually feel like you're not being seen in this relationship with this person. And I said, that is it. But I wouldn't have been able to come to that discovery on my own if I wouldn't have had that close friend that knew the other seasons of my life, that knew me on a deep enough level, besides just, not superficial. I don't think there's anything wrong with superficial relationships. There's just some are deeper than others. That she knew me, she knew my hurts, my pains, my passions, and she was able to help me navigate how I felt, so that then I could clearly articulate to that person, hey, it's not this, what I said. I actually don't feel like you see me for who I am, type thing.
So I'm curious, you know, we're approaching 2021 and, you know, because we have had ingrained in us goals, right? I mean, goals, right? What I would like to know is first, before we get to what you think 2021 is going to bring for you, career, and then within yourself, emotionally, spiritually, what are you going to leave behind in 2020? And maybe speak to maybe a few specifics to you, and then maybe in general to others where you're like, hey, you know, if you're listening to this, like, these are things, probably leave it behind.
I'm very happy you touched on goals. That is a huge pet peeve of mine. New Year's resolutions drive me back crazy.
Yeah, right?
And I'm like, oh, you waited all year.
Yeah.
So you're going to reevaluate your life one time.
I'm about letting things go, and I'm about like trying new things. But like goals for me, I
it's a constant self-reevaluation.
It is every day. I have a new goal. I mean, or I'm tweaking it. But I always find it interesting when I'm scrolling through, and you know, the one thing with your page of photographs and words is they really feel like you give every picture, like, you know, I'm going to give a quote, I'm going to give something, but this is how I'm feeling today, and not this like cereal box, like goal number 1, we are, you know, like, you know, go to keto versus paleo, you know, I mean, like that kind of shit just is like, I appreciate it. And sometimes I'll even apply some of it, but so yeah, I'm going to throw it back to you. Sorry. Went on a tangent there.
You know, you and I, squirrels, we got this.
I know, right? I'm like, here's a nut.
The tree behind you, great tree.
Oh, I know. Right. I love you. I love you.
Oh, yeah, just spreading that. I mean, within the quotes and the captions, I feel like it's a platform and people are going to see it. I personally feel like, you know, it's just an avenue to spread more love out there. And I do feel anything that I post, it's on my heart. It's been placed on my heart in that day, in that moment, that somebody needed to hear it. Somebody out there, I don't know who it was, and I just always hope that it reaches whoever needed to hear it. And those are kind of vulnerable nuggets for me being out there. And, you know, because like you had said, if I'm saying it to others, it's probably actually internal dialogue.
Yeah.
And then because I needed to hear it, I thought maybe somebody else would like to hear it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2020, leaving behind, I think from your original question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard question for me to answer, because as we spoke on being self-aware and reevaluating, I personally do goal setting every Sunday. That's my day. I reflect on that week, and I look at the 8 dimensions, which is something I'm very passionate about as well. And what I would love for people to take away from that is, you know, sometimes we hyper-focus on one of our dimensions. So we'll set a financial goal or an intellectual goal for that week, or a physical, you know, goal, which is a lot of people's in the new year. And it's actually 8. You need 8 to be well-rounded and to be well and to be happy, because we know just one of those dimensions won't make you happy. So you focus on your financial goals. Great, made $1 billion. Are you happy? We know. We've seen that firsthand, right? You have the amazing body you've always wanted, but you're not intellectually well. You're not socially well. So every Sunday I sit down, set tiny little tangible goals for that week, right? Realistic. We're in fitness, SMART goals, specific, measurable, tangible, realistic, right? Timely. So we set our SMART goals, and then we refresh. We reset. How close was I to that? Did I do that? How do I need to adjust to navigate through this next week? And then that's, you know, more like 52 weeks of goals versus 1, or every quarter, or so I plan to continue to try and do that. Yeah. I'm a mirror memo person.
I love it. So on the mirror.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Great.
My bathroom mirror is always just covered with different quotes and little phrases.
Do you have a pen? Do you
have
have a lipstick? I'm always so
sassy. I like the lipstick.
I love you, girl.
It's really just me kissing my mirror. Expo markers, dry erase board markers, right on mirror.
Oh, cool. All right.
And then just swipe right off. So whatever I feel like I need to hear that's going to motivate me, a reminder, goal, or sometimes I'll draw just whatever comes to you. You feel it. That looks different to every person. Sometimes I draw little, pictures that remind me of, different things that correlate to something that I'll draw a little package, like a little gift package. And that was my reminder to, let my gift to the world shine, to be out there, or a light bulb, to be the light, don't let it dim you, or whatever that looks like. You just kind of have this creative space and moment. And then every time you walk in the bathroom and you see your mirror, you're reminded of those things. Yeah. So continue to do that. And in 2021, I just want to continue to run fearlessly. I think, again, with that persona of how people see you, because I do portray, and I feel like I am, a bold, strong person. But even I'm intimidated, even I'm scared, of something. And it's easy, to talk it. Yeah. Like, you should go after that and be uncomfortable. Yeah. And I'm like, but I'm uncomfortable and I'm not going to do it, but you should do it,
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I mean, it's funny how I've learned more and more that when I go into my classes, I am, even when I'm doing a podcast, I try to speak from a place of authenticity instead of, this place of being the all-knowing, person. Because every day I'm learning, I mean, every day I'm learning. Yeah. And if one thing I am leaving in 2020 is this sense of feeling like I have to show up like I have everything all together. Not that I want to be a shit show and a mess.
No, I love that. I love that. I hear you.
I just want to be able to pivot. And the other thing is, I used to be the person that said, I will hope for the best, but I'll always be prepared for the worst. And that no longer serves me, because I do believe that sometimes our imagination is worse than what the reality is. So if we plan for the worst, we have already sabotaged.
Allowed that to potentially be a thing.
We've let that thought come into our head. And it's not that I'm saying, be ill-prepared, don't have a fire extinguisher. I mean, obviously have the frickin' fire extinguisher. I got one down on my kitchen. Good enough. But in that next breath, I've lived in fear for so long about how people perceive me, that I'm not good enough, and then also putting that, like that moment that we were talking about at the end of work when you're coming home, is I'm already putting a thought process of what my husband is thinking when he comes in through the door. So I'm coming in like Donna frickin' Reed, and it's like, you know what? Just let him breathe. And if you're honestly celebrating the day and you see that he's tired, take a breath. Don't let it take away from your good day, but understand that giving him an overpouring shotgun list of guess what happened? Da, la, la, la. So I'm trying. I'm trying.
So many good nuggets there. I loved what you'd said about the idea, and that you allowed that to be an energy space, because that's something I want to focus on. That is, I'm an analysis until paralysis person, because I want to be perfect, right? So I'm like, I can't share this little IG video because I'm not an expert in this thing, and it's not credible, or I'm not perfect at this. And the idea that you said about what did you say? We were talking about how the negative, and not planning, for it,
being prepared.
Happened.
It's like preparing for the worst, because we have our imagination is huge.
So for 2021, I'm being hyper focused on the manifesting, and I hope everyone does that, and they hear what you just said about, if you think it, you breathe the life into the potential of that being a thing. I think so many aren't aware of the intense reality of the vibrations in your thoughts.
Oh my God,
your thought sends out, and they've done the brain scans, your thoughts send out vibrations. So sometimes people think of, okay, I'm the law of attraction, right?
Yeah.
I must speak it out into the universe, and the universe will pull that energy back towards me, but not really grasping that your thoughts give out the same vibrational energy.
Yeah.
So if you even think it, don't even think it.
Yep.
Just
it's like the plant, right? The plant,
yes.
like there's been a few experiments with plants to where it's like talking to your plant.
I talk to my plants all the time. They have names. I love them. I wake up, I tell my hibiscus plant in my room, you look gorgeous today.
My God.
Thank you so much for being beautiful for me. I see your new little sprouts. People are like, are you talking to a plant? I'm like, yes, I am.
Johnny and I have a money
Get with
tree.
it, okay?
Yeah. Well,
it's a living, breathing, it's a thing, and we're all connected.
And I have to say, just like this conversation and, what we talked about today, I just feel like this kind of energy is what I want to keep. I want it like a freaking engine into 2021. Yes. As we wrap this up, do you have any, just like a little nugget or something that you want to just kind of share with people?
Yeah, I mean, I think we spoke on the dimensions of wellness. Yeah. I tend to find that, most people who are looking to be happy, which I think so many people are searching for, right? How do I become happy, or how do I become genuinely happy? I don't think that they're unhappy. I think they're imbalanced. Yeah. And balance comes from having those 8 dimensions of wellness. So, Google that, look up the 8 dimensions of wellness, become well-versed and informed on what those are and how you can set goals within each of them. I have a little acronym for the 8 wellness. Yeah. It's C if pos, like perf. It's like perfect. So C if pos. Yeah. And if you spell out C if pos, it's the first letters of each of the 8.
I love it. That is a great way to remember it.
SEIFPOS. And you will hit all 8 of the dimensions. Let's see if it's
on your Instagram, do you speak to those? Quite a bit. So that'll be the next thing that I'll have you do, is to share with our listeners and our viewers, if number 1, they like to follow you or see you on like social media, and number 2, where they could find you if they wanted to train with you or, get some RC energy in their lives.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So my IG is at RC Official. RC Official. And then if they want to train with me, there's lots of different dimensions online, some small groups, some things here, one-on-one, pretty flexible. I'm here and happy to help in any way. Just DM me.
And
slide
then,
my DMs.
I love it. And then your foundation, if people want to learn more about what you're going to be doing in this next year, because if I know you, you will be
big, girl.
Yes,
we going.
I love it.
I love
100%. It. She was just on the phone with Big Brothers and Big Sisters today, and you guys know I'm a huge fan of Big Brothers Big Sisters. So I just can't wait to see what's going to happen for you next year.
Yeah, on their Diversity and Inclusion Board for 2021. And
congratulations!
Yeah, my foundation that we'll be working really heavily towards after this. Actually, I have a meeting with my team and my committee to talk about 2021 and what we want to bring to life. And it was challenging. Because 2020 we had to adapt in so many different ways. But when you believe in it and you make it happen,
totally. Yeah. Well, I adore you, lady. I will definitely want you back on the podcast just to see what evolves, what transpires in 2021. And you have a forever friend in me with whatever you go into. You pave the path for a lot of people, and you have an effect on a lot of people. You had an effect on me. So
I hope so. I hope people just, they choose to be happy and understand, it's a habit, and habits need to be practiced and reiterated, and it's a conscious choice. Nothing can steal your joy. As my mom always used to say. It's that song, put it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine.
I love it.
You just can't. Don't let them steal your joy.
Yep.
Yeah. 2021. Manifest it. Create it in your mind. No negative thoughts.
I love
She's happy.
She's preaching. I hope you are listening. I hope you're taking notes. Look up the 8. The 8. It's under 8
wellness dimensions. Yep. There's also a Venn diagram to find your purpose. So you can Google find your purpose Venn diagram and the 8 dimensions of wellness. You get the 2 of those. I think you'll be pretty set.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, again, notes. And now that you've listened, guess what you need to do? You need to subscribe to the podcast.
Click it.
So that I can do more of these. So other than that, I'm going to sign off for now with this light of mine over in the right. And I'll see you guys next time.